Good morning, everybody. Call the meeting to order, 8:34. We've got a quorum. I'd like to open the meeting with the public comment. Any member of the public is welcome to address the commission. Seeing none, move on to the minutes. Minutes of October 16th meeting, 2024. Everybody have an opportunity to look at the minutes. Entertain a motion after somebody's ready.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Ethics training. It's that time of year. You want to do it or you want me to? Everybody's required to do ethics training once every 2 years and file your Form 700s. I think the county's in the process of either emailing them or mailing them. They're due April 30th. Do you know if anybody's ethics certificate is up right now? Is everybody current?
I mean, if I remember correctly, they pushed it last year to have, and I think everyone was updated, but I'm not sure. I know I updated mine last year, so.
Okay. Sounds good. Moving on to item number 5, some updates on a couple of items.
Before we move on.
Yes, sir.
My staff was informed that we receive a stipend. I think that was an error.
I think you were misinformed. The level of compensation for your service on this is exactly $0 American.
Well, that's what I assumed because we were trying to figure out if we needed ethics training and.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you're not actually compensated, but the county still does it, and we have to do it anyway for other forms and businesses that we're involved with, so we might as well just do it.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Lemus hasn't been getting both yours and his. You just didn't get one.
It was reported we got $2. I go, I haven't got $2.
I've never gotten one. Don't need it.
As you can see on the completed side, we're halfway done, a little bit more than halfway done on the Sultana Storm Drain Improvements and Recharge Project. The Flood Control Capital Improvement Program is almost to completion. We just have about 23%. The staff at this time are developing a scope for the budget. The Kings River Channel Cleanup Project is practically done. I mean, it could be even completed by this point. This was updated about a week ago. Our clerk, she's on maternity leave at this time, so she's been following that closely. We are pending approval for some of the amounts might change here, but we'll let the commission know. The Strathmore-Frank Kern Canal project is also almost done. Right now, we're finalizing a budget for that to reflect required capital outlay for that project. The St. Johns River levees with Visalia and KDWCD is completed. Right now, we're working with other government agencies, including the City of Visalia and Cahuilla Delta Water Conservation District, to prepare a budget. The Antelope Creek project is completed as well, so we may be able to delete that from.
I think maybe those colors are.
Yes, sir.
I think that those are not, I think it's the opposite. I think that that's remaining.
Okay. The grant is coming in March. Yes, sir.
They're a little tough to see, but I think that's what that means. Darker is.
Sorry, as you guys can see.
Yeah, it's the inverse of everything. I got
well, yes. So
We're
we're almost done with the Sultana Storm. We're halfway there. And it seems like we have quite a bit to go on some of the other programs. We'll keep a close eye on these. We have legislation coming up in, I believe, March, where we'll be able to see where we're at with most of the funding for these as well. Do you guys have any questions that I can?
An update on the Frank Kern, sat down and met with Denise and Commissioner Vink a couple of months ago on that, to help provide some contacts. Oh, and following that, I think we met with Friant Water Authority as well. Denise and Friant and I sat down. I don't think Vink was at that one. And so we connected Denise to the right people at Friant Water Authority, the new people at Friant Water Authority. They were open and receptive to the project. Some prior staff had some issues with it. So that's the update on that one. Any movement on the Cowee Delta?
Question is, when are we going to receive some of the bias that we're still,
Haven't sent it.
we haven't seen anything. I know here it talks about budget, that's one. So we can take to our, I know City of Visalia and New Park.
Okay.
Denise at some point, and I'll probably just email her.
Ping her separately.
But it would be nice to kind of move on that.
Yep, I agree.
We do have a meeting coming up in April. I can make sure that we have that highlighted, and before that, I'll make sure, Mr. Smith, that she can get in contact with you before then.
Okay, so that's items 5 and 6, I guess, here. Are there any other items?
Well, I don't think we addressed the annual stipend project.
Okay. My district is on the Wachumno Water Company Board, which is impacted by the Antelope Creek issues that have arisen over the 2023 year. There was gates that go from Antelope Creek, feed into Wachumna Ditch, then from Wachumna Ditch, feed back in to Antelope Creek. I physically did an inspection and review, took photos, submitted those to Denise. Denise has ordered gates because there were some compromised gates that needed to be repaired. So they are, as I've been informed, been ordered by the county. Don't know the schedule in which they will be installed. And then on the siphon, I think that's still outgoing, but it's a big expense item, and it's probably going to be low on the construction list. Considering that the other places should be done first, so you're looking at $500,000 to $1 million siphon. I told Wachumna don't hold their breath, but Right. Yeah, I would.
Work
That's
through-
probably, it's like a huge amount of.
it's on the list, but it's like page 20.
Of the budget, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, Denise.
But the county has addressed the imminent issue is the gates, and she's got them ordered, and we just don't know when they're gonna come in and get them constructed, so I think we're good. Well, I'm happy with where we're going.
Yeah. It was a relatively cheap fix too. I think it was like $18,000 to get them done. So yeah.
A couple other items. I updated them, Denise, on our meeting with Friant Water Authority on the Strathmore project. I don't know.
So I can give an update on that. So I went back and found, so a couple of things. I went back and found our plans and things that had been designed back to 2019 when the project sort of stalled because of some issues that Friant was having with it. Randy Weatherspoon, if you remember him, he had done quite a bit of work. So I dug those up. I reached out to Provost and Pritchard. We have an agreement with them. We went over the design as it stood then, and we have a call, I think it's next week, there's some discrepancies in the initial, I just basically said, here are all the things that I found. I'm not quite sure what is, what you can use and what level of effort you'll need to take it to construction. And so we're working through that. Randy has also reached out, and he's interested in coming back on a part-time basis. And so we have some very specific projects. We could use him on, this being one of them, and some of these other flood control projects. And so hopefully in the next couple of months, we can have him back on board to also work on the county side. We would still use the outside engineering firm to get everything packaged up for us and help us along the way, but Randy could at least provide some engineering input from the inside. So that is where that project is sitting. So hopefully we can this year get through the design and final plans and all of that, and get an agreement with Fran and the Bureau. I did find a permit file, so it looks like we may have filed a permit with the Bureau, but I don't, or an application for a permit. I don't see anything back. So hopefully when Randy comes back, he can kind of catch us up on where it is, because right now I'm just hunting through files, trying to figure out where things were left off.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would suspect that because of the issues that the Bureau and Friant had, that nothing was ever granted. There's no license granted,
Yeah.
so. But when it gets picked back up, I'm sure the Bureau still has a license file that's open on it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Mr. Chair, Denise, and if you can connect me to the right person, like I said, I appreciate your activities on getting those gates ordered. On the other, there's 3 I think you ordered.
Yeah.
The other 3, the rails need some attention. I don't mind going out and meeting with somebody on the county staff who's directly responsible for that.
Okay.
And then we can go out and him and I can talk about what I see.
I believe Steve Nolan, our road yard superintendent, is the one that's working on that, but I'll connect you with the right person.
Because it's not your bailiwick, right? It's,
Yeah.
you guys are roads and things, and so I'm more than willing to meet and
Okay.
put my waders on and go back down in the water. And do it again. So just, I do appreciate your moving this forward. There's been some consternation by staff up with Chumna that this was really a issue during the 2023, and we just don't want to have an issue out there to get possibly on a lawsuit. So thank you for your efforts.
And then the Cowee Delta, City of Visalia County, Levy District 1 and 2.
Yeah, I kind of gave a brief update with the fact, we haven't seen any type of a justification, like a letter or something that Nick and I could take to our separate, he would take it to his city council, I guess, and then us take it to my board, just to figure out, whether we can justify spending. I think we had estimated $150,000 for the study. We split it 3 ways, $50,000 each. So we're still waiting to see if that's something we can do. I think until Nick gets something, and I kind of mirrored the same, it's hard for us to put something like that in our budget. Now our budget's coming up again. Obviously, a lot of people have been working on their budgets. I know I'm getting ready to start in the next couple months, so now would be the time if we have something that we can concrete, I could put in there.
I think we found a resolution that your commission had passed prior to Ross leaving, and I think I just needed to package that up with a cover letter and send it off to you.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't need to be something too crazy, just something that kind of gives a little bit of an idea of what the study's going to be, the reasoning behind it. I think more than anything, for my board, it's an easier sell. I think it sounded like Nick was really more concerned about the content of that document.
Yeah.
So I'll let you work with Nick on that.
Yeah.
He's little different situation than me. Other than that, that's all I had on that, so I appreciate that.
Yep.
Denise, any other ones that you wanted to update?
Sultana Storm Drain, I think I shared the last time that we were redesigning it to take the portion that was in cooperation with Alta Irrigation District, or maybe that was when we got the call set up, but Alta doesn't have a lot of interest in using the basin for recharge, and the connection between that storm basin and Alta facilities would have taken a significant amount of property acquisition. And so because of the budget and because of the timeline, we felt that there were other things that could be done to alleviate some of the storm flooding in that area. The basin itself is poorly designed. The inlet and the outlets are almost flat. So basically the water comes in and then it just kind of goes to the other side and goes right back out. And so we've worked with Provost and Pritchard to redesign that project and they were able to do it within the existing budget to just improve the facilities that exist so they function better, and then set it up for a future connection with Alta if Alta chooses. So we've got the redesign budget revised, and we're working through the amendment process with DWR, and then that'll get updated, and then construction will start on that. Flood Control Capital Improvement Program, I don't have a lot of updates on that. We're still we are still reactive, and we'd like to get proactive, but we're moving in other areas, so that will come. And then the Kings River project, we applied for an H&H, we applied for a larger actually implementation project, and then Cal OES changed it to where now we have an H&H study. And so we found out last week that we were awarded. So we are working through the contracting process with Cal OES. We have also put in 2 applications through the most recent round. It was BRIC and flood mitigation program. So we have 2 FMA applications that are NOIs that are now moving on to the FEMA. So you apply to Cal OES, they decide what they want to package up and apply to FEMA. So we have been selected to move our 2 projects on to the FEMA application process. So one is a project scoping of the Antelope Creek siphon, and probably that'll get extended a little bit farther out on that project to identify areas of concern that should probably be reworked so that that project functions a little better, or a lot better. And then the other one we put forward, I had originally put forward an update of our Tulare County Flood Control Master Plan. They didn't like how big it was, so they asked us to narrow it down. So within that plan, there's different units, and the one unit that's had some challenges but doesn't have a lot of control is the Deer Creek and White River units, so the South County units. So we put those forward. We drew an arbitrary polygon around the project area. It's also project scoping. The intention is to update that portion of the Tulare County Flood Control Master Plan for that unit, and then we'll just probably have to work our way that way to get the whole plan updated. But we drew a polygon because you had to, the FMA program is tied to flood insurance policies. And so we drew kind of an arbitrary polygon just for the NOI. That'll continue to get refined. We were also contacted by the Allensworth, Atwell Island, Tri-County Water Authority group. They had put in a BRIC application in it's the same NOFA but different program for an H&H study in that area. They asked for us to combine it with our application. I think that makes sense. I think similar work could be replicated up into, farther up in the watershed to identify issues and potential solutions in that unit. So those 2 are also moving forward, so we need to add that to our list.
So on Deer Creek, Pixley has a 1602 permit.
Okay.
That ranges from just upstream of the Bryant-Kern Canal to our western boundary. And so we have lots of information on what needs to be done on Deer Creek. If you want to reach out to John Michael, we can work with you guys on that.
And we'd like to coordinate with you on White River similarly.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We'd like to coordinate with you on White River
Sure.
similarly.
Sure.
By the time White River gets down to Tri-County area, it's just, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So,
So the application, we are getting access into the FEMA Go system. It's part of the grants.gov system. We have FEMA Go accounts, but we had to add in some grant specialists and our consultants. We have, Haggerty is doing technical assistance through Cal OES, and then we have another consulting firm that is going to help with the application process. Applications are due February 28th, so we're on a tight time frame. So we will definitely be reaching out to you all we kind of just quickly put something together, and then now we need to put some meat on it to get it into to the FEMA Go and get it funded through FEMA. So again, a lot of things moving forward. So hope you're excited about that. We are.
Denise, on the Kings River, are you coordinating with Kings County? I mean, because you're gonna, it's a spot on the
Right.
river that's upstream of 99, right?
Yeah.
And I think it goes to Riverland, a little bit into
Yeah.
Riverland. But, my former stomping ground, so the People's Head where, the weir there, that's where Corcoran took their water out. You might be fixing this, but it really doesn't fix what you're thinking you're going to fix. Has there been any coordination with other entities on cleaning out that channel?
Yeah, I want to say yes, but I wasn't as involved in this one as it was going through the process. And like I said, Cal OES changed it and changed it and changed. It was very, sorry for the poor pun, but it's very watered down at this point compared to what we were wanting to do, because we wanted to just dredge it, but that's a four-letter word to the state. And so they said, well, you need to do this, and you need to do this, and you need to do this. And over multiple, probably 12.5 or more changes, we now have an H&H study. So thank you for that. Yes, we will, as we move forward, we'll reach out and make sure that we're fixing, that the study covers what needs to be fixed, but also considers downstream. And so we're not creating problems, or if there's problems to fix downstream, we're looking at those as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Kings River system, unlike Kauai's system, I think the conservation districts, here before my time, took an active role in maintaining the riverways.
Right.
On the Kings side, they don't actually do that, and I don't know, and I don't think there's any appetite for them to do it in the future. They just don't, right? They just leave it natural and let life happen. So,
So you're saying coordinate with Kings County or coordinate with Kings County Water?
I would,
KRCD.
there's multiple, but I would think there's the conservation district would be one.
Okay.
But again, I think you're going to strike out there because they don't do a lot of maintenance on the Kings River. I mean, unlike, like I said, for whatever reasons, Kui Delta Water Conservation District took an active role back a long time ago, and which was great. I think our system looks really good. It's open. Its vegetation's under control for the most part, and but on the King system, it's a total different beast. So, and maybe that's all we're going to live with on the county, on Tulare County, is we're going to fix the immediate area where you guys are thinking about fixing, or and then deal with the other impact. So, just it'd be nice if someone.
Who at KRCD is the contact that you would recommend?
I would, I've been gone now for 3 years. I would talk to their manager. I forget who the new guy is.
Is that Paul still?
I thought he moved on.
He moved on, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who the new one is.
Okay.
I mean, Steve Haugen at Kings River Water Association would be a good contact, but he can get you pointed in the right direction.
Okay. Any other updates on projects?
I think that was it,
Okay?
unless I'm missing something that you all are aware of.
Lewis Creek project? Lewis Creek, you know, apparently, allegedly, there was a crossing put in, maybe not under the advisement of the county. I think there was. Lindsay Strathmore has continued to tell me that it's going to be a conflict, as it did in 2023, that, you know, there need to be a better design if that's what the guy needs is a crossing. But they're thinking that the piping, and they're big pipes, they're like 60-inch pipes, is still not adequate enough to pass the flow of water. So if we can put that on our radar to get that.
My
you
understanding
guys
is there
are
was a
working on it.
code case open on that, but I didn't circle back to see where that was in our process.
Yeah, and what my understanding of it, the contractor did reach out to the county, and one branch said, yeah, go ahead and proceed. And I think there was another branch that had a cease and desist. So, you know, somehow it didn't ever cross up. But at the end of the day, we just gotta, you know, make it right and get it fixed and help the landowner. I think the landowner wants to be able to access his property, but he needs to do it right.
Yeah, I had heard last that there was a cease and desist, so I thought it was done.
Yeah, so I think that's, the cease and desist order was done. The contractor called the county, and the county, but another branch, right? And they, oh yeah, proceed, go ahead and do it. Didn't know there was a cease and desist,
Okay,
and so.
we'll see if we can get that cleared up.
Moving on to item number 7, channel maintenance and responsibilities.
Yeah, so we shared the map last time. We're still working on how to get you all access to the map. So hopefully before our next meeting, we'll have that hammered out, and we could even send it out ahead of time with a little tutorial video on how you can start to populate that. In the meantime, we did some work on Sand Creek to abate a fire hazard. We're working through the routine maintenance agreement with Fish and Wildlife. We owe our consultants some shape files. I'm aware of a few channels that the Flood Control District is supposed to maintain. Most of those are in the North County. I'm having trouble finding records of anything else that we are supposed to be maintaining. The Flood Control District has easements, or they own certain areas. Those are mostly like Antelope Creek. There's something along Cottonwood Creek, although we haven't quite tracked down what exactly it is because it requires our county surveyor to come down here in the basement and dig through old records to find those things. And then we have clear records on Sand Creek through Orosi. But we need to know what else we should put into that routine maintenance agreement so that we can move forward with the environmental review and get that completed so that we can be on schedule to get that done. We also have, I have a resolution and ordinance in the works so that the Flood Control District can join under the California Public Contracting Code. Anyways, to allow because right now the Flood Control District Act limits how much you can contract out without a formal bid process. And so by adopting a resolution and an ordinance, we can come under that other code. And the limits before were $60,000 for like a public works capital improvement project and $200,000 for like consulting work. That limit has now raised to $75,000 and $225,000. So it'll give us a lot more flexibility to address some of these issues without having to go out to a formal bid. So that is also in the works to start chipping away at some of the channel maintenance stuff.
Okay, that's helpful.
Yep.
When we get that map, it'll help us see if there's other areas that we need to get added to routine that may not have anybody's responsibility right now. While we're on channel maintenance, we're doing the bridge on White River and 176. The county's excavator was broken still is, I'm told, so the county couldn't, roads couldn't do it. So we're throwing staff and equipment and renting and borrowing and getting that ready to go just in case it's wet this year. Let's hope. Maybe not quite as much as 23, but somewhere in between. Last year was fine.
Right amount.
Yeah, just an
right.
average amount is perfect.
You have something else, Eric?
Go for it.
Road 80, that bridge on Road 80, remember that work that was done by the farmers that were right there, without saying names? Built up some levees on both sides, the north and south sides of that St. John's, and then also put a rubble dam right in the center, and then put a huge hole about 7-8 feet deep. What they did with all that material was they pushed it back up under that bridge. And we had Ross and a couple others look at that, but they addressed it specifically from the side of the integrity of the bridge, not so much from the fact that it's a flood area. And so our concern from the district is we've now asked the contractor and the farmers that put that in to remove or cut down the levee work that they did, because they built those levees up so high. If we had anything close to a decent water year, there's a chance that we could do some damage out there as far as some of the flooding, back it up and push it back up and just have some issues. So you and I have talked before on this, and I know Ross had worked on it as well. I just think at this point, I'm hoping that it doesn't turn into a flood control issue specifically. Just more of a heads up. As of right now, they supposedly have submitted documentation to get their CDFW permit back in place. They already had one, but now they're using that as an excuse to say they're not doing the work. So
They had a permit when they did the work?
They
said
had
they did have a
some
permit,
things, yeah.
but it's questionable. They never provided it to us, but the contractor said that he went out and got a permit. So there's some issues that we're not going to get into at this point that we're dealing with.
These are Cuya Delta issues
Well,
and flood issues?
it's
Yeah.
a couple. It's
yeah.
Queen and St. John's Rivers Association, because it has to do with some other.
Okay, so there's a whole bunch of water rights
But
stuff in there.
also,
Okay.
Yeah, there's water rights issues involved as well, so.
And then the permitting issues as well. But
And
they
then there's the
had-
permitting issue.
My recollection is they had something,
Yes.
and so that's why we went under so has the material been removed from under the bridge?
No, it has not.
Okay, so I will.
That's the concern that we have.
Yeah.
If there's something that the county could do, because we don't operate within a certain boundary or,
Right.
area of bridges. And so our concern is that all that built up material, we've already had now water year, which was, last year, that hardly any of that was pushed downstream, which is what they were thinking. They thought it would kind of fill that hole, but that hole is still there, and a lot of that material is still under the bridge. And I think the idea was originally just checked for integrity of the bridge. Now we're hoping that it doesn't cause flooding as well.
Yeah.
So I think if there can be some communication, you and I can talk a little bit more.
Sure.
Maybe Ross can be involved as well. I just would like to get a little better explanation of what it was that he had his staff go and do.
Okay.
To that point, does the county have a flood control engineer on staff currently that's kind of, or?
No, not yet.
Or what's the plan for that?
Randy.
That will be Randy.
Randy coming back on a part-time basis,
So that's the plan right now?
what she told us.
We have, if you know of engineers looking for a job, we have several engineer spots
I just
open.
hired one. He's no longer looking for a job.
And so, I mean, it's an ongoing recruitment for our spots. So we don't have anybody. So it'll be Randy, and consultants is how.
I mean, the county's got a permit for the 200 feet on either side of the bridge.
The bridge, yeah.
So, I mean, if that's where the flood control concern is, it sounds like there's coverage to get in there and do it.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
at
and
whose expense too.
exactly.
but,
I think
yeah.
you're right. I think that is a county, that's the thing, that's why I'm bringing it up now.
Well, the county's equipment
perspective.
doesn't work right now, so you can do it yourself if you want. We'll talk later.
I'm not having my staff go out there currently and do anything because of the fact that all that work was done, and supposedly there's this timeline that the growers or farmers have they're saying, we just don't trust. There's too many already issues that we've experienced with them to say, yeah, we're completely fine, we know they're gonna do the work, we don't trust that they will.
Fix it, send them a bill.
So, well, that's the alternative, Gene, is do we go out there and fix it? Because we know what needs to get done, we'll do it in a few days, but
I
my
understand.
guys are full. They don't have anything that they can just sit back and say, well, we have an extra week,
Yeah.
so. Just trying to figure out where we are and how we can get to the point where we're a little safer in that area.
You have a time slot between 5 PM and midnight.
True. My guys are already getting off at 6. They're
Okay.
working 6 to 6,
6 PM to 6.
6 to 6 every day.
We still got 6 PM to 12.
Any other items in channel maintenance category?
No, not that I have.
Item 8, suggestions for future agenda items. Anybody? Next meeting date,
Set for April, but that may change, and I just got word from staff here that they want to kind of go into that work, so I will be sure to get an email out to you guys.
okay. Sounds good. Any other business? Seeing none, close the meeting. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.